Jai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Po Jam Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Paripakacharya Taratar Sismai Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Śrī Ṭhākura Ki Jai Principal Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Śrī Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta-vrinda Ki Jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Śrī Guru and Śrī Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 10, text 20, entitled Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka. Anyonyam asti sañjalpa uttama-śloka-cetasām kauravendra-pura-strīṇāṁ sarva-śruti-mano-haraḥ 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 anyonyam asti sañjalpa uttama-śloka-cetasām strīṇāṁ sarva-śruti-mano-haraḥ anyonyam among each others. Asti there was sañjalpa talking, uttama-śloka the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is prized by selected poetry. Cetasām of those whose hearts are observed in that way. Kaurava-indra the king of the Kurus. Pura capital. strīṇāṁ all the ladies. Sarva all. Śruti the Vedas. Mano-haraḥ attractive to the mind. Translation. Observe in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is sung in selected poetry. The ladies on the roof of all the houses of Hastināpura began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymn of the Vedas. Please repeat. Observing the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is sung in selected poetry. The ladies on the roof of all the houses of Hastināpura began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymn of the Vedas. Purport. In the Bhagavad-gītā, it is said that in all the Vedic literature, the goal is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Factually, the glory of the Lord are depicted in such literature as the Vedas, Rāmāyaṇa and Mahābhārata, and in the Bhagavatam. They are specifically mentioned in the respect of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, while the ladies on the top of the houses in the capital of the king of the Kurus dynasty were talking about the Lord, their talk was more pleasing than the Vedic hymn. Anything sung in the praise of the Lord is śruti-mantra. They are a song of Ṭhākura Narottama Dasi, one of the acharya in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, composed in simple Bengali language. But Ṭhākura Viśvanātha Cakravartī, another very learned acharya of the same Sampradaya, has approved the song of Ṭhākura Narottama Dasi to be as good as Vedic mantra. And this is so because of the subject matter. The language is immaterial, but the subject matter is important. The ladies, who are all absorbed in the thought and action of the Lord, develop the consciousness of the Vedic wisdom by the grace of the Lord. And therefore, although such ladies might not have been very learned scholars in Sanskrit or otherwise, still whatever they spoke was more attractive than the Vedic hymn. The Vedic hymn in the Upanishad are sometimes indirectly directed to the Supreme Lord, but the talk of the ladies are directly spoken of the Lord, and thus they were more pleasing to the heart. The ladies' talk appears to be more valuable than the learned Brahmana's benediction. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnana-Shalakaya Chakshum Militanena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha. So we are going to have class divided to 3 parts. First part, we are going to discuss brief overview of previous text in this chapter. And today's class, we are going to discuss line by line. Then in part 2, we will discuss about Song of Narottama Das Thakur. Prabhupada mentioned about Narottama Das Thakur's song is as good as Veda. The third part, we will discuss Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission in connection to this text, and how we can take part of Prabhupada's mission. Part 1, overview. The Battle of Kurukshetra was over. After the Battle of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna stayed in Hastināpura for a few months to pacify his devotees and give mercy, especially Bhishmadev, who was lying on the bed of the arrow and about to leave the body, and Yudhishthira Maharaj, who was re-established as emperor, but he was still lamenting because of loss of so many people. Then Subhadra Devi, she is the sister of Krishna, and she was also in deep grief because of the loss of her own son Abhimanyu. After a few months, Krishna decided to go back to his own kingdom, Dwarka, and he asked the permission from Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Yudhishthira Maharaj arranged all nice sending away festival. Many instruments of music like mridangas, drum, veena was played. And Arjuna held umbrella, Satyaki and Uddhava was holding the chamela. And the ladies, they heard Krishna is leaving, so went to the rooftop of the palace and different houses and went to see Krishna. That is up to now, and today's verse starts from the ladies are talking. The first line, among each other they were talking. That is the first line. Second line, they are talking about what? They are talking about Krishna. Krishna is known as uttama-śloka. In today's shloka, is specifically Krishna is called uttama-śloka. Uttama-śloka means one who is prized with chosen poetry. There is a famous shloka described about uttama-śloka. Ayu halati vaipungsang undang astang chayan yaso tasateyang sano nityang uttama-śloka bhaktanam. That means both rising and setting, sun decrease the life of everyone except one who utilizes the time to glorify the Supreme Lord. That means someone who doesn't use their time glorifying the Lord, their life is so useless. Every time sun rises and sunset, their life duration is decreasing. They're usually living and they're going to die uselessly. But someone is glorifying the Lord, using that time, glorifying the Lord, they are not to be influenced by the sun's rising and setting. That means Krishna is so powerful. Krishna is the controller of the movement of the sun. And also Krishna is the controller of the time. Therefore, those who glorify the Lord is not going to be influenced by the movement of the sun, nor by the influence of the time. Just like in the spiritual world, there is no influence of the time. So those who are glorifying the Lord, they are living in the spiritual world. They don't have an influence of the time or movement of the sun because Krishna is so powerful. So that uttama-śloka Krishna is so powerful and so special. Therefore, he is supposed to be glorified in choice and poetry. That means we cannot just talk about Krishna randomly, but he is supposed to be prized with selected verse with specific method and rule and regulation of poetry according to Vedas. But here, it's mentioned that ladies are just talking. They are not following any rule and regulation of Vedic poetry, but they are just talking. But their talk are more pleasing than Vedas. Third line. It said in the third line, kaurava-indra, that means king of the Kuru. Then Pura means capital. So the Kauravas, everybody knows Mahabharata. Originally, Kaurava's capital was Hastināpura. But the Duryodhana said, I want to be a king. But actually, Yudhishthira was supposed to become a king. So when the Yudhishthira became mature in age, Dhritarashtra divided the kingdom to two. So that Duryodhana can also become a king, and Yudhishthira can also become a king. And Dhritarashtra gave the half Hastināpura, mainly Hastināpura, that's to Duryodhana, because he likes Duryodhana. And he gave the half, it's that half, but actually it's a barren land, it's useless land, to Yudhishthira Maharaj. But Yudhishthira was devotee of Krishna, so with the help of Krishna and Vishwakarma, he built a wonderful city called, it became known as Indraprastha. So in the Kuru dynasty, there was two main cities, that is Hastināpura and Indraprastha. But later on, of course, Duryodhana became envious and he wanted to get that Indraprastha also to himself. So there was gambling match. And then in gambling match, Yudhishthira was cheated and he was sent away in the exile. After certain years, he came back and reclaimed for the Indraprastha and his rightful claim for the kingdom. And of course, Battle of Kurukshetra was fought and Duryodhana was defeated and Yudhishthira was re-established as emperor of the world, not just a king, because during Indraprastha time, he performed Rajasuya sacrifice, which claimed that Yudhishthira to be the emperor of the whole world, means all the kings are under him. And now he lost the position and he got it back. So he is emperor. And in this text, it said, kauravendra-pura. That means they have two big cities, Hastināpura and Indraprastha. But this city, Pura, capital, is indicated as Hastināpura. Because in Mahabharata, it said Yudhishthira Maharaj, after the battle, he ruled the kingdom from Hastināpura, and then Krishna wanted to visit Indraprastha, and Arjuna also wanted to go because Krishna is going. And of course, that's because Indraprastha is very dear to the Pandavas. So Krishna and Arjuna went to Indraprastha. That means Yudhishthira Maharaj was in Hastināpura, and Krishna and Arjuna went for a few weeks to visit Indraprastha. And when he came back, Krishna actually wanted to go back to Dwarka, but because Yudhishthira Maharaj was so affectionate, and then he was emperor, so Krishna has high respect. He couldn't just say, hey, I'm going back. But he has to ask a permission. But he's too scared to ask Yudhishthira Maharaj. So he asked Arjuna, can you come with me to ask? Sometimes we also do something like that. When we have to talk to someone higher, don't want to go alone, want to get someone else who is close to the person to come with me. So Krishna asked Arjuna, can you come with me? And Arjuna said, yeah, sure. So when they came back from Indraprastha to Hastināpura, they went to see Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Arjuna said to Yudhishthira Maharaj, actually, I have something I want to ask you. And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, yeah, sure, whatever you want, you ask me. I give you whatever you want. And that's what exactly Arjuna wanted. You give me whatever I want, then I want the permission that Krishna can leave to Dwarka. Now, of course, Yudhishthira Maharaj was heartbroken, so sad Krishna is leaving. But Yudhishthira Maharaj also understood that Krishna had been with Pandavas for many, many months. From the time Pandavas were sent to exile and came back, after they came back from the exile, from that time Krishna was always with the Pandavas. And he was not with his own relative in Dwarka. Then, of course, during the whole battlefield and after a few months, Krishna was with Pandavas in Kurukshetra and Hastināpura. So he has to go back to see the relative and the citizen in Dwarka. So he gave the permission. And Yudhishthira Maharaj not only gave permission, but he made a wonderful arrangement. He sent a quick messenger to Dwarka saying that Krishna is coming back, so that they can make their own arrangement to welcome Krishna. And also he made a music band and an umbrella and a chamalan and everything nice arrangement he made. And the ladies, they heard the news of Krishna is leaving. And that was right after Arjuna and Krishna came back from Indraprastha, and Arjuna asked Yudhishthira, right next morning Krishna was leaving. So the ladies were so much in anxiety. Wow, Krishna is leaving. Some of them are very close to Krishna, like Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti. And some of them, they didn't even see Krishna at all, because their fathers and their brothers, or maybe their father-in-law, some relative, they all fought in the battle of Kurukshetra, and they all left the body in the battle of Kurukshetra. So during a mourning period, they stay in the palace in seclusion. So they didn't even see Krishna. So they said, well, we didn't even see Krishna. We heard so much about Krishna's glory. We want to see Krishna at least the last moment when he's leaving. So then, so much in anxiety, they went top of the roof and saw Krishna. Like when we see Guru Maharaj is always in the roof. So we know Guru Maharaj is here, but we don't really see Guru Maharaj all the time. And when sometimes Guru Maharaj go out, yesterday Guru Maharaj came to the temple, I heard, and I went to the swimming pool. And sometimes he go to doctor check or something like that. So we become so anxious. At least this moment we can see Guru Maharaj for a moment, something like that. So the ladies, they were so much in anxiety, and they want to see Krishna, so they went to the rooftop. The last line, that is the main point of today's class. Their talk, the ladies' talk, they are more attractive than the Vedas. Mano-haraḥ, attractive to the mind. So first we will discuss what is a Veda. Prabhupada said in the first line of Purport, in the Bhagavad-gītā it is said, Vedic literature, the goal is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That is the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna said, sarva-śruti-mano-haraḥ hridisani vishto matta smritin jnana apohanancan vedasya sarvana vedam vedanta kuri veda evachaham. I am situated in everyone's heart. From me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am a compiler of the Vedas. I am in the Vedas. I am to be known. I am the goal of the Vedas. So the Veda is actually coming from the breath of Vishnu, and it is a perfect knowledge, and it's meant to direct the citizen and people in general, everyone, toward Krishna. That is the purpose of the Vedas. So such a great Vedic knowledge is compared to the talk of the ladies here, and the ladies' talk are more attractive than such a great Vedas. Why is that? Prabhupada mentioned that sometimes Vedas are not direct. That this lady is directly talking about Krishna, but the Vedas sometimes indirect. Trigunya Visaya Veda Nistaigunyo Babajuna Nibdamto Nityasaspasto Niyoga Sema Atmavam. The Veda deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. All Arjuna become transcendental, these three modes, and be free from all dualities and from all anxiety for gain and loss, and safety, and be established in the self. That is Bhagavad-gītā 2:45. So the Vedic literature is perfect, but because we are not perfect, because people are not perfect, the Veda has to deal with those imperfect persons who are in a mode of ignorance and passion and goodness, so that they can be gradually be promoted to the highest position. So Veda deal with different things, like there are 18 pranas. Out of 18 pranas, 6 are for mode of ignorance people, and 6 are for the people in the mode of passion, and 6 are for people in the mode of goodness. So sometimes if you read the prana, Lord Shiva is supreme, and Krishna is one of the insignificant demigod or something like that. There is a battle and Shiva defeated Krishna, something like that. Sometimes it comes in a story in the prana. And also for the mode of ignorance, they need to eat meat. And then there is a recommendation of they can offer the meat, but they have to kill the goat in the dark moon. And their mantra is, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to eat you. And in next life, you can kill me and you can eat me. That is the mantra. So the Veda sometimes has to deal with this kind of thing. And most of the part of the Veda are in the material platform, and sometimes behind the material mode of nature, but sometimes interrupted to the Mayavadi philosophy, like as if the Supreme Lord is Nirankara, has no qualities, no form. So the Vedas are perfect, but because we are not perfect, so Veda has to deal with all this kind of thing. But the ladies are talking about Krishna directly, so it was very pleasing and very attractive. The reason the ladies of Ṭhākura are attractive is mainly two. One, the subject matter was Krishna. And second, because they are so observed in Krishna and they are talking with affection. These two made their talk very attractive. And it's said, the Prabhupada said in a purport, by the grace of Krishna, the talk of the ladies become more attractive than Shruti. Their consciousness become the consciousness of the Vedas. Do you have any example by the grace of Krishna, by the mercy of Krishna, someone starts speaking as if he's speaking like a Vedas? Do you know any stories or an example? Someone who may not be so qualified, but Krishna gave the mercy, so suddenly he starts speaking as if he's speaking the Vedas. Do you know any example? Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj performed past the austerity, and suddenly Vishnu appeared. He wanted to glorify Krishna, but he couldn't speak. But Krishna put hand or conch? On conch, holding with the hand, the conch, touch the Dhruva Maharaj's head. Then suddenly he starts speak beautiful prayer to the Lord as if the Veda is speaking. So by the mercy of Krishna, even those who may not be glorified can speak. They will develop the consciousness of Veda. Consciousness of Veda means Veda is trying to bring the people toward Krishna. That is the consciousness of the Veda. Try to bring the people toward Krishna and glorify Krishna. That is the consciousness of Veda. Another example, by the absorption of Krishna in daily life, when they are doing something else, they glorify Krishna. That is more pleasing in the Veda. Do you know any example or a story? Krishna book or Bhagavatam 10th canto. Okay. The example of those devotees who sing about Krishna by so much absorption, deep absorption of Krishna, they start singing about Krishna. And that is very pleasing to Krishna. That is more attractive than Veda. Do you know any story or example? Everybody knows, you just don't want to say it, or? Narada Muni, Bhajaya Veena. He always has a Veena. He travels everywhere and he sings and glorifies Krishna. He does all the time. That is very, very pleasing to Krishna. And it said Narada Muni, when he glorified the Lord immediately appeared in his heart because his glorification of the Lord is so pleasing to the Lord. Thank you. Any others? Prahlāda Maharaj, before Nrsimhadev appeared, he was always glorifying the Lord. And then after Lord Nrsimhadev appears, everyone else is scared. But then Prahlāda Maharaj was pushed forward to speak to Nrsimhadev. And he offered beautiful prayers. He said, I'm not glorified. These Brahman, Shiva, and Lakshmi, they are more qualified, but I'm just the son of a demon. I'm not qualified. I don't know how to speak. But he gave such a beautiful prayers, and Lord Nrsimhadev said, those who remember the prayer of Prahlāda Maharaj will get liberated. So such a powers of purity and absorption of Prahlāda Maharaj, which make more than Vedas. Lord Nrsimhadev is very pleased. Thank you. Anybody else has any? Gopis. You said gopis? Yes, gopis. Yes, gopi always sing about Krishna. Yes. The gopis are always singing about Krishna during a household and during a meeting Krishna, and always. And there are two kinds of gopis. There are many kinds of gopis, but then one kind of gopi is Yashoda. She's also gopis, elderly gopis. So when she chants the butter, but when she's chanting, like sometimes we do something mechanically, but Yashoda is not like that. Yashoda chants the butter, thinking about Krishna, and she make the song about Krishna, and she sing the song about Krishna, and she make the butter. And gopis, I think you mean to the gopis, Krishna's girlfriend gopis, right? So they're always singing, but especially I wanted to mention about the Gopi-gītā. Gopi-gītā was sung when they're going to perform Rasa dance. But suddenly Krishna left the Rasa dance, and they are totally in deep separation from Krishna. Krishna suddenly disappeared right when they are going to perform Rasa dance. So they are so sad, and they are looking for where is Krishna. Did you see Krishna? Oh dear Marathi flower, oh dear, did you see Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj? Did he pass around here? Then, because they are in such a in anxiety and deep separation, they are not going to compose Vedic mantra or rule and regulation of the poetry. It's not like that. But they were singing one of the famous shloka Bhakti Maharaj used to sing. Maybe you may know. Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam kavidiritam kamasapaham shabana mangalam Srimad atatam bhuviganantiyed burida janaha. That's what Gopi is singing in the separation from Krishna. The nectar of your word and the description of your activities are the life and soul of those who are suffering in this material world. This narration, transmitted by learned sages, eradicate one's sinful reaction and bestow good fortune upon whoever hear them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and filled with spiritual power. Certainly those who spread the message of Godhead are most magnificent. They are not just lamenting, oh Krishna, where are you? Come back, I want to see you. They are not just saying only that. They are saying the description of yourself is so wonderful. So those who glorify and spread the message of Godhead, they are giving very auspicious thing to the world. So they are in separation, but they are glorifying the Lord and preaching activities. So for ISKCON devotees, this is very important because sometimes we feel separation from Krishna, may not, but then sometimes from different devotees, and sometimes we are in a distress in different level. But the Gopi was singing in the distress, how wonderful the Krishna is, how wonderful is the glorification of the Lord, and how wonderful is those devotees who are glorifying and spreading a message of the Lord. So this is really important for us also. Another example Srila Prabhupada gave is Narottama Das Thakur. So we are going to go into the part 2 of today's class. Narottama Das Thakur, he was also observed in the love for Krishna, and then it said Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur said the Narottama Das Thakur's song is as good as the Vedas. Many of the songs you may know and you may not know, but then we are going to see how much. The point is how that song is very attractive and then as pleasing and then as good as better. First, it's directed to Krishna, object is Krishna. Second, the absorption in the thought of Krishna. Krishna or Krishna's devotee or Chaitanya, eternal associate, it's all same in the category because Rupa Goswami said, Anya viresta sunya, kyana karmanya navrita anukurena Krishna anu śrīṇāṁ bhakti uttanam. So the Krishna is the object, but that Krishna includes Krishna's pure devotee, Krishna's paraphernalia, Krishna's incarnation also. So when Narottama Das Thakur sang many of his songs, is about Lord Chaitanya and his associate and spiritual masters. So they are all including in the category of Krishna's to śrīṇāṁ bhakti uttamam. So some of the songs we are going to sing. If you know, we can sing together. Evalo karuna kolo Vaishnava gosai Patita pavana tuma dineke honai. O Vaishnava Goswami, please be merciful to me now. There is no one except you who can purify the fallen soul. I'm not going to explain it one by one, but I want you to see how much Narottama Das Thakur was observed in the thought of Krishna and Krishna's devotee and directed toward Krishna, and that is as pleasing to the mind as more than Vedas. Goranga boite habe puraka salira hari hari bolite na nayane babenira. When will that opportunity moment come to us, when there will be shivering of the body as soon as we chant Lord Gauranga's name? While chanting Hare Krishna, when will there be tears in the eyes? If you know the song, can you sing it together? Hare Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha. Hari obeisance to Lord Hari and to Krishna, and Yadava obeisance to Lord of the Yadu, Madhava and Kesava. Jayani no pemadana karuna patu eno pabu kota gero acaya taku. He who brought the treasure of the divine love and who has filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivasacharya come? Nitai pada kamala koti chanda susitala dechaye jagata jurai. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are a shelter where one will get the smoothing moonlight, not only one, but the millions of moon. If the world wants to have real peace, it should take shelter of Lord Nityananda. This everyone knows, I'm sure. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Pama Kebama Bhakti Sarma Vandamui Sabanana Mate. The lotus feet of our spiritual master, the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can close the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Doya Kolomole Toma Bina Kedoyaru Jagata Samsara. My dear Lord Chaitanya, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your lordship within this three worlds? There are many songs by Narottama Das Thakur, but one more. Śrī Rūpa Manjari Pada Sei Mora Sampada Sei Mor Bhajana Puja Sei Mora Panadana Sei Mora Dharana Sei Mor Jivanela Jivana. The lotus feet of Śrī Rūpa Manjari are my treasure, my devotional service, and my object of worship. They give my life meaning, and they are life of life. So these songs are fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna, and we can easily sing. It's written in simple language of Bengali, but it's very pleasing to the mind of Krishna and pleasing to the mind of ours. So we will go to the part 3 of today's class, Srila Prabhupada's mood on mission. How this text and purpose is related to Prabhupada's mood on the mission. Prabhupada presented Vedic scriptures to us in such an accessible way. Prabhupada wrote in the preface of Bhagavad-gītā, he wanted his book very authentic. Like he wanted to have Sanskrit verse and word to word, and previous Acharya's commentary, everything has to be in one packet. When it was printed for the first time, it was only 400 pages or something. There was no Sanskrit, no word to word, and many things was removed. But then he wanted specifically his book to be very authentic. That means he wanted presented Vedic scripture as it is, how it is written, and he wanted present in the way we can understand. Because Veda is so high, we are so low, we cannot understand how it is presented. But the Prabhupada prayed to Krishna, please my word be understandable to those people. When Prabhupada went to Boston, he saw the people in a mode of tamoguna and rajoguna. Yeah, tamobhava, rajoguna. But he prayed to Krishna, please make my word be understandable to those people. And therefore his book is so easy for understanding. Many people said that they read Bhagavad-gītā so many times by someone else's translation, but there was no pure devotee came by reading those books. But by reading Prabhupada's book, so many people become attracted to Krishna. So many people understood, yes, this Bhagavad-gītā is bringing us toward Krishna. That is the message. Prabhupada wanted Krishna's message to be broadcast in the original spirit. Original spirit means Krishna is the Supreme Personality. We are Krishna's servant. We are meant to go back to Godhead. We are meant to serve Krishna. That's the message of Bhagavad-gītā. He wanted to present as it is, and he wanted to bring people to Krishna. Therefore, Krishna empowered Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada's book has such a potency that we can come close to Krishna. So therefore, his books are very pleasing and attractive to the mind and heart. Like when we read Bhagavatam, I don't know if you have experience, by reading Prabhupada's book and Purport, start crying like, yes, Prabhupada said, I was just thinking about that, and Prabhupada said exactly what I was thinking. You have some experience like that, and I feel like every page with Prabhupada said, Bhaktivedanta Purport is my ecstasy. So his absorption is fully manifested in Prabhupada's book. And now, last part of today's class, how we can take part of Prabhupada's mission and how we can do in proper mood. Like today we discuss the ladies absorbed in the thought of Krishna, and they are very affectionate. So we may not be, maybe some of them are very learned Sanskrit scholar, and most of us may not, but we can speak. Like when Prabhupada said, you have to preach, and some devotees said, how we can preach? We don't know. We don't know how to preach. We don't know Krishna. And Prabhupada said, whatever I said, you repeat. That's what we can do. Like in Bhakti Shastri also, cross book exam. Whatever is said in the book, we have to memorize it as it is and then say whatever it said. Like Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra. Why Dhritarashtra said Mahamaka Pandava? Why he is discriminating? Mahamaka means Kauravas, Pandavas, but the Pandavas, Kauravas, both are Kuru dynasty. But why Dhritarashtra said Mahamaka Pandava Chaivat? Then it's said in the Purport, Prabhupada said, because Dhritarashtra was discriminating. My son is Kuru dynasty, and Pandava's son is something else. But actually, both are Kuru dynasty. So that thing in the book, we have to remember and we have to repeat. That we can do. And then, just by repeating is good, but if we can explain in the language, we can speak, we can explain with our own word, it's great. So, something like Prabhupada translated Sanskrit to English. But then Prabhupada established International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So some of you may be speaking other than English. Who speak more than English? What's yours? Hindi. Yes, many books are written in English and was translated to Hindi, right? Anyone else has speak another language? Prabhu, what language you speak? Spain. Is there any book translated to Spain? Is there any book translated to Spain? Many books. And any class or lecture, seminar going on in Spanish? Spain means Spanish? Any lectures or seminars conducted in Spain in their language? Okay. Nanda, Jijago, what language you speak? Spanish. Spanish and Spain are same or different? Okay, so there is a Spanish books, and there will be lectures and seminar also going on. Yes. Is there any matter to what language you speak? Gujarati. Gujarati speak Gujarati language, different from Hindi, different from Tamil, different from Gujarati. They have their own language book. They have book. Okay. Thank you. Is there any lectures or so going on? And Prabhu, which language do you speak? Hindi. And Prabhu? Hindi. And you? Tamil. There are Tamil books here. Very good. So Prabhupada translated from Sanskrit to English and many languages. Just within this classroom, there is the Hindi, Tamil, and then Spanish. And then also we have Japanese also. There is a Japanese team of Japanese devotees translating the Bhagavad-gītā and Bhagavatam and different books. And we just finished Srimad Bhakti Shastri, Nectar of Devotion, and Bhagavad-gītā first part, Bhakti Shastri we finished. So Japanese, obviously far from Sanskrit. We are not following any rule and regulation of Sanskrit method of poetry, nothing like that. We are speaking Japanese. But still, because of our intention is glorify the Krishna and try to bring the people to Krishna, and Hindi is almost Sanskrit. So it's great credit. And Spanish, I think Spanish is also related to Sanskrit, somehow close to, some word are very close to Sanskrit, right? Yes. And Tamil, of course, very close to Sanskrit. So there is a many effort was done by Prabhupada and Prabhupada's follower. Because we have obligation to Prabhupada, we have love for Krishna, whatever the devotion we have, we put into the effort to translate in different languages and different seminar we may conduct. We may have go to university and preach to the people with a different topic like karma or reincarnation. We may just not say everything in the Veda, but we may pick the different topic. We may go to yoga center and some topic which they may be interested in. Then we speak in the language they can understand. We may not be speaking in Sanskrit, Vedas, but we try to convey the message, to try to bring them close to Krishna. So that is what we can do. And Prabhupada wanted us to do, so we can take part of that in a connection to today's verse. And then another example, like TOBP. TOBP building is not speaking, but planetarium, exhibition, they are going to speak, big preaching. Speaking, the ladies are talking, but not only talking, but the exhibition, there is a different model will be there. There will be different planetary system moving. There is a blue mandala and then different planets and rotating in different way. They use high technique, modern technique, to speak to the scientists, to speak those who are misdirected to the science. Those things, visual representation can also speak as good as the ladies on the roof in the Kuru dynasty. And there are so many methods of speaking, like we have now coronavirus. Because of coronavirus, we cannot go out to preach, to speak to people one by one. But there is a method of Zoom meeting, Skype, and Facebook, and many methods. I don't know many of them, but then you know more than me, I guess. So many methods what we can do. So we can try to understand Prabhupada's mood. Prabhupada wanted to convey the message of Krishna, and we try to take that mood and give to others what we learn from Prabhupada and previous Acharya in a mood of absorption in Krishna. That will be very pleasing to the heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. If there is any comment or question, we have a few minutes. No? No? Okay. Rantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Taiko Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.